Dream Team, it's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with Australia on Fire Part 4, full documentary, guys. Before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. What we got?
To help support it any way we can.
It's always hard to see Australia in a distressful situation. The fire here doesn't discriminate. It is swept through and it is very devastating. The good news is we've seen a lot of live animals, so there's a lot of good news here as well.
Thank God.
Wow.
A lot of the vegetation will grow back fairly quickly. You know, all we need is some good rain and a lot of things will bounce back. That is less so for the koalas though, because a lot of the trees have been destroyed and they will take many years to grow back.
Wow. Oh, a wedding!
We're very, very pleased that this wedding could go on.
Is that a slab? Is that a slab I
Business
detect?
has to go on, and we certainly weren't going to let a bride and bridegroom down on this special day.
I love it.
I've just left the fire ground about 2 or 3 hours ago. I smell like smoke. The guests were so forgiving. I explained to them that I didn't have time to change. The difficulty is that people are so emotionally strained at this stage, and there are a lot of people that just need to see some hope and some an event going on that gives them some further security. It is a disaster for Kangaroo Island, and people are going to need a spark of hope to be able to move in that direction.
That's gorgeous, man. Definitely, after going through such a tragic situation and in these bushfires going absolutely insane, it is nice to have something like a wedding. Like he said, when these tragedies happen and people, it's just loss after loss after loss, you do need that spark of hope. You do need that. And I feel like a wedding is definitely a spark.
Almost every morning with the smoke, I'll get up and have chest pain, sore throat, the feeling of not being able to breathe properly.
Oh, wow.
On bad days with the smoke, I've been feeling really sick. Nauseous even, you know, gagging over the sink. I'm worried about my son, you know, and I'm worried about the long-term effects of this. I mean, if this just keeps going on, and they're saying, you know, this is like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, you know, my 11-year-old son is smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. What is that doing to his lungs?
Gosh, there's just so many things I feel like that you don't think about. That because all you really think about is the destruction of the fire and everything, but you don't think about like the after effects. And as an outsider, at least, as someone who's been through it and everything, you understand all these things. As an outsider, you think kind of once the fire goes out, just everything just like goes back to normal, but you don't think about all the after effects that a fire this size and that powerful has after it's put out, even after it's put out.
I do feel lucky that we're not caught up in the fires, but I don't think people are realising actually the long-term damage of some of this smoke as well.
Every epidemiological study that's happened has shown that there's no such thing as a safe level of pollution. So in Australia, we have the cleanest air in the world, probably. You know, our levels of pollution are very low, typically. And even at that lower level, there's still measurable health effects.
Yeah, I just can't breathe sometimes.
Have you ever had a bunch of them?
Oh, wow.
Slovenian Dalila Jakupovic retired from her qualifier after a coughing fit.
The people that I'm most concerned about are children, because children will have a long time to have lots of exposure year in, year out to develop those chronic consequences of bad air pollution. We'll be able to start measuring things, as quick as a few months after the smoke dissipates. But in terms of long-term health effects, probably we're going to have to wait, maybe 10 or 20 years to start to measure what's happened to people.
Long term, we don't know what those health implications may be, and I probably won't see that until my baby gets older.
She will be taking her own breaths, and she's going to have small lungs, and it's not getting filtered through Paula's body, which I assume helps the baby out. So it is quite scary.
We know that if women smoke when they're pregnant, that the child's born small, and the child is often born with several organs that are perhaps underdeveloped, and that child is more likely to develop chronic disease as it grows up. So it's more likely to have diabetes, it's more likely to have neurological conditions, it's more likely to have respiratory and cardiovascular disease. And we know that women that live in really polluted areas, the same thing happens there.
200 firefighters and mine personnel are battling the worst blazes in a disused mine near the Hazelwood power plant.
Wow.
"20 firefighters have already sought treatment for the effects of carbon monoxide.
My God.
The babies who were in utero at the time of the fire have abnormal vascular and respiratory function. They're more likely to have respiratory symptoms such as coughs and colds, and they're more likely to need treatment by their GPs with antibiotics and bronchodilators and other medication. But at this stage, we don't really know the long-term significance of those findings.
Jeez.
Okay, Pete, come and we'll have a quick look at the map and see where we're at. Okay, yeah.
I'm starting to lose count of the fires that we've actually had to deal with. So it's not been one fire front and sort of deal with it and deal with the run that it's done. It's a case of being on top of one, and before its smoke has died away, we've had another.
Jeez. So it's just constant, know what I'm saying? Put one out, another one pops up, put that out, another one, and another, and another. And so these fire service teams or firefighters are just, they're doing everything that they possibly can. But with fires like this, I can't imagine that there's enough of them.
Smoke has died away. We've had another. You'll notice that there'll be a lot of people with a bit of a croaky voice, whether it's dust or smoke. But sort of a couple of weeks, and so that usually sort of clears up again. But it depends on the severity of and how close you've been working to it.
Jeez.
He went to the doctor, and a couple of the nurses sort of said that he should give up smoking. And sort of he's never been a smoker.
Wow.
They're getting massive exposure, and they're also getting exposure to things, lots of the gases which would otherwise dissipate.
That's insane, man. That is That's crazy. And they have to just basically go in all of that to put these fires out. And they have to inhale so much of that smoke, working so close to it. Yeah, that's insane. Wow. Wow.
If this year's bushfire season becomes the new norm and we are exposed to this every year, then the likely health effects are going to be really measurable. They're going to be much more prevalent. We're going to see much bigger impacts and probably see them sooner.
Jeez.
This was the wood heap. Luckily there wasn't a lot of wood in it because we'd used most of it through the winter. Just the house, and then out the back had a snowy hut, sort of a veranda at the back, and garden most around. We lost the kids' cubby house. Yeah, the garden was my pride and joy.
We used to have it in the garden shows.
People
for our
came out and
region.
Go look around the garden, so
it was pretty important to us.
Our daughter brought a caravan from Denison in Gippsland up for us, and her husband and little 2-month-old baby. Our son lives here in Walwa. His house was also attacked first.
Wow. That's crazy, man. Such
Grabbed a couple of my
devastation.
mum's rugs that she'd knitted. So, and decided just moving the hoses around, hoping to at least save the house.
And during the night we come here and it was all burning and tried to save it, couldn't. And then I stayed with it till we had to leave. And then I had 2 friends with me in vehicles, and we withstood it for a long time, and then I said, we got to go. So I was driving the tanker and they said, you lead. I said, well, hang on to the taillight. And I went through flames and smoke, and we got out. So that was the main thing. And then I just kept fighting it and saving other people's houses and properties and so forth. And we saved a lot, we lost a bit.
That's just insane, bro. Look at the ground, like
38 years of breeding.
That devastation is insane.
Shearing shed still standing, so that's motivation to stay. And
it's our part of the land and what we love, and our community and everybody. So it's important. I don't want to go anywhere.
So which way did the fire come from?
From down the back way. There was a cleaning shed and pool pump shed just there. A reasonably large ensuite cabin there. And as we get further around, you'll see there's another 3 cabins down there that have gone.
What do you think this fire means for the local community more generally?
Yeah, look, there's people out there that have lost their homes, and we're hoping to get insurance and stuff like that. But we'll struggle. We're going to struggle to rebuild, but we will. But I've got a home to go to. Other people don't. The fires have gone, but it's still a lot left to do.
This fire's jumped the river on a number of occasions now, and it absolutely doesn't ask permission, it just comes across.
Sheesh. Jump the river? Oh my Lord.
We're aware that there is a...
I honestly didn't even know fires could just go over a body of water.
Difference between New South Wales and Victoria with regards access to funds to assist for people who've been evacuated. We know that in Victoria there is access to a payment specific to areas that have been impacted by the need to evacuate. New South Wales, that payment doesn't exist.
Wow.
We respond to 000 calls that are, community members have accidents, they call 000 and we carry pages and Ambulance Victoria responds us to those accidents. We don't have the same arrangement with the New South Wales Ambulance Service, and so if somebody calls 000 just 5 kilometres from here, over on the New South Wales side, we aren't responded to those accidents, and so those individuals have to wait potentially 50, sometimes 60 minutes to get an emergency responder.
That's insane.
It's difficult to understand that Federation really ever happened, given the difficulties that we face getting services across the border and getting a consistency of service for people on either side of the river.
Wow. Yeah, man. These fires are just absolute destruction. They're absolutely terrifying. I can't imagine. They destroy everything in sight. Take people's homes. In the worst cases, take lives. Leave long-term effects, smoke inhalation, pollution in the air now. Have such a huge effect on the ecosystem and on all the animals, and it's just so much to them, and you just can't imagine going through something like that. I love Australia because in this you heard a lot about the sense of community between them, and the sense of perseverance, as a lot of people were like, we're gonna stay, we got to rebuild at this point, like we have to keep going, we have to rebuild, and they talk about helping their neighbors and all of that. But that's all we got for this one. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.